I'm just waiting for TKL to tell me that he is ready. As soon as he is ready, we'll hop into game 1. As I said before, these games are not live, but of course, I don't know the score. Neither knows Indy, neither knows TKL. I don't think they even knew that they played earlier. Where is my TKL, guys? I don't want to start without him. Alright, the gamers are here. Game 1 was played on Incorporeal. We just saw that they have played yesterday on the 28th of August. So a little over 24 hours ago. Let's hope it's a long one. And let's hope it's a fun one. And one that really goes back and forth. When I proposed this match to Reynor, he said, "Oh, come on, Kev, why do you hate me?" I was like, do it for the Starcraft fans out there. And he said, "Alright, fine. Here we go."
Let's get it on.
Round 1, fight!
Top left side of Incorporeal. We are looking at the main base of the Italian Stallion. You guys may have seen him stream this week as he's been very active over at Twitch. This is Reynor. Also, the world champ of the all-random tournament series that we've been running for a while. Getting a 3-2 victory in the grand finals over Lambo. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time with it. He also said he had a lot of fun with it, and that made me happy. In the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss. It is Classic, the runner-up of the Esports World Cup 2025. And what an impressive run that was for him. And what a good run that was for Virtus Pro. As I believe they finished like 4th or 5th overall in that Club Rewards Championship. They absolutely got their money's worth. With whatever they paid Classic, it wasn't enough. I think he deserved a little bit more. Because they only had one player. They've basically only had 2 players over the last 3 years in StarCraft. And walking away with 500 points at the Esports World Cup is mega for Virtus Pro. So I'm sure they were very, very happy. Some of you guys were obviously at EWC with us. And probably saw some of the staff of Virtus Pro also in the audience. They were cheering him on, so that's very cool. It's not like they just signed him and they never looked at him. And there were always guys of Virtus Pro in the audience rooting for their boy. And they were a little bit outnumbered in the grand finals because obviously Serral always gets a lot of support. The StarCraft 2 audience was very wholesome and was also cheering for Classic. Even if it was quite obvious that most of them wanted Serral to win and were there for Serral. But of course it is cool to give Classic some love as well. He deserves it. Absolute legend. Oh, Reynor, no! Oh my god, my boy's washed. Reynor, what was that? Alright, it's over, guys.
First blood.
Oh, yeah. All that APM, guys. All that APM and it's over after 2 minutes and 20 seconds. How could that happen? Uh-oh. Maybe it's the first time in a little while that he's playing cross-server games. Because Reynor obviously is not a player that normally signs up for a lot of weekly tournaments where he is likely to play against the Koreans. And after EWC, I don't think there's been much reason for Reynor to play custom games with some of the Koreans out there. So anytime he played StarCraft, he probably only played on the European server. The all-random tournament that he participated in back-to-back Mondays was also all in Europe. So probably forgot about the impact of cross-server. And by the time he realized, it was a little bit too late. Now, Toktaran, you can only get points out of one player in a club championship. So even if you have like somebody, let's say Team Liquid would have had Magnus Carlsen winning chess and Pragnanda finish 2nd and Fabiano finishing 3rd, they can only get points for the highest placing finisher. So we got 1,000 points for Serral, but that was it. We don't get extra points because Trigger made it or Reynor finished top 8. That is not how it works. And also to qualify for the Club Rewards Championship, you need to score at least in 2 titles or more. And unfortunately, we only had one chess player. It was one of the first times that he played in like an esports setting on the stage, not over the board chess. So it was very difficult. He had a decent performance, but he's so good in like classical and other forms of chess. But got a bit unlucky as well. Had a very, very tough and unfair bracket. Basically, they did not really believe in seeding. Imagine open brackets in StarCraft 2, and one bracket has Reynor, Serral, Clem, and Classic, and the other bracket has Pi and Roddy. That's basically what happened in chess. Now, the Pi and Roddy bracket wasn't that bad, but you know, the other bracket was a little tougher. Reynor, his Zerglings get on top of the third base of Classic and get a cancel. And that's going to make Reynor feel real good. And it's going to make him forget about losing his drone earlier on. Our chess player is Vincent Kamer, who recently broke into the top 10, the official top 10 ranking worldwide. That's 7 drones. So obviously breaking into the top 10 in chess is, yeah, that's insane. Something that I can't even really wrap my brain around. I've also played a little bit of chess over the last few years. I will not talk about my rating. I'll tell you guys anything you want to know about me, but I will never, ever, 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 ever tell you my chess rating. I'll tell you that much. Top tier secret. Yeah. Well, Steve, the thing is that the reason why chess was brought to the Esports World Cup was mostly because of chess.com. And obviously chess.com is not exactly known for letting people play chess over the board. Chess.com is kind of like virtual chess, right? It's not that FIDE brought chess to the Esports World Cup. It's alright. I'm very, very excited for the next edition already. Chess has already been confirmed. They have something that we would really love as the Starcraft 2 scene, an early announcement. And quite a few of the titles have already been announced for the Esports World Cup 2026, and chess is one of them. They indeed have a whole circuit as well. Yeah, it's true. It's a lot of adepts here, guys. It is a lot of adepts with Resonating Glaive Adept. And at this point, the Reynor's got 32 links, 5 queens. That is lovely in some scenarios, but not very lovely when you have to worry about 15 adepts with Resonating Glaive. Game 1 is not the kind of game that I think Reynor was really looking for. Classic is going to let this shade finish up. Now the link count is really, really high, but so is the adept count, so this is an interesting battle. Reynor obviously gets quite a few adepts rather quickly. He's looking for the wraparounds. Would love to get the final ones. I mean, it's always painful. This is now already always painful. The good news is that I don't think the game ends here. The bad news is that Reynor is in a lot of trouble. Reynor survives with 54 drones and 32 links with +1 melee. So like the only thing you can really do here is just macro up, right? And hope that Classic does what he sometimes likes to do most, and that is just chill a little while. And of course we can try to use all these links in denying a 4th base. Get a little bit of map vision, but there's not a whole lot more than Reynor can currently do. Did they already announce Rensport? Rensport doesn't seem to be doing very well. I think that's a game that they really wanted to do well because I believe they're involved themselves, but it seems like the racers are pretty stubborn. Reminds me of another community out there. They're like, no, our older racing games are better. And I know you guys know that I love F1, but I also think that F1 would be really, really, really exciting at the Esports World Cup. I know that most of the real races will say like, no, it needs to be iRacing. If it's not iRacing, it's garbage. But like F1 esports is actually incredibly exciting and fun to watch. Probably a little more exciting than Rensport. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I think a lot of people share that opinion. Wasn't that like a realistic best case scenario for Reynor, what he was supposed to do? Also Protoss can do the same thing. I don't know what you're asking me or telling me or are suggesting. If you're saying like the way that that all played out was the best case scenario for Reynor, yeah, there is a world where he was dead. But best case scenario is that he's ready for it. That he has a wall off, that he has roaches out, or has a bunch of banelings that can connect with the adepts. Losing that many drones, mining time, being forced to build a like what felt like 90 something Zerglings overall is obviously not the best case scenario. I think Falcons fielded lineups in 21 out of the 25 games. I believe Team Liquid fielded 12 lineups, and I think Falcons had 21 lineups. Oh. They asked Fabi what sport was like chess, and he didn't say SC2. I was disappointed. I think a lot of the grandmasters in chess have just been so focused on chess their entire life that they didn't really grow up playing a whole bunch of random video games. I cannot imagine that Magnus Carlsen ever had the time to casually get in a little Protoss session. I also don't think he would have played Protoss, to be fair, but you know, gotta respect these guys and their craft, and they don't have infinite time. Lots of High Templars with very decent energy. Reynor is gonna maybe try to just get on top of them. Gets two rather quickly. Is looking for a third. Can't quite get it. Has lost a lot. Honestly, this is going pretty damn well for Reynor. Maybe Classic should not have gone so far away from his cannons and batteries. A bunch of Hydras still alive on the left. Who could have ever thought that this would ever go this well for Reynor? I don't think Reynor can ever kill Classic here, though. Classic has money in the bank. At one point, the Classic's army looked very underwhelming, but he had a big warp in ready, and he had those cannons and batteries to fall back to. Doesn't have a lot of High Templars at this point, though. Only 2. I think that was sloppy on Classic's side, but I think Classic's lead was big enough that he can justify this. Did lose the Oracles indeed as well. A bunch of Zealots on the top. Zealots do struggle though, as long as there are Banelings in the mix, and there are still Banelings in the mix for Reynor. Really impressed that Reynor has been doing this well. Classic now firing up Carriers. All choice. I think almost everybody prefers Tempest. Maybe he... I don't know. Maybe he just feels that Reynor is never tacking up, and Carriers can be very good against lair tech Zerg. But there's also a chance that you just die with 2 carriers on the production tab, or like 2 carriers with 0 interceptors. But we do know that Classic always believes in his High Templars and cannons, so he needs to drop some big fat storms. And the cannons need to do their thing. The Archons are doing a really good job in taking care of a lot of the links. We have some Zealots countering on the top left side. Great play here by Classic, who's casually floating 2200 minerals and 900 gas, by the way. He's gonna spend some of that by queuing up 2 more carriers, building an Immortal. Life's good near cannons and batteries, guys. Life is good. Four more Zealots getting on top of the hatch on the left side. We have Lynx, Banes, and Hydras in the mix. Reynor still maxed out. How many storms are we looking at? Honestly, not that many. I only see one very juicy purple bar. Reynor did lose that hatchery on the right side, but it is not so much about that hatch. It's a lot more about this army. It's just that the cannons and the batteries are such a big problem. And 2 carriers is not that scary, but 4 carriers obviously becomes a little bit more problematic. Especially because these Hydras have 0 armor upgrades. No carapace. Not like Classic has any air upgrades, even though +1 is close to finishing up. I'm afraid Reynor is kind of running out of steam. The early game was rough. I mean, we lost we lost a drone to a probe, guys. That is probably the last way you want to start off a professional game of StarCraft 2. These guys are professionals. I know Wingend really appreciates it when Castus mentioned that. These 2 guys are really good at the video game, by the way, guys. They are professionals. So losing a drone early on is not what you're looking for. Then losing 10 additional drones and 60-something Zerglings, also not what we're looking for. Still a lot of Hydras here. Is there a world where the carriers ever run out of interceptors? It is Hydras, it's Lynx, it's Banes, it's... Honestly, carriers are very low on interceptors, but the Archons are finishing up. We should have a couple of extra Zealots. Kind of looked like Reynor got close, but in the end just not quite close enough. It is Classic who takes the 1-0 lead. 4 in a row for Protoss. Look at that. Cannons and batteries for days. Having Archons, High Templars with energy recharge and cannons and batteries can make up for a lot of army supply deficits. I'm going to invite my French caster and my Polish caster to game 2. Long day for Classic. These games were played yesterday, Kruger. I've already mentioned it many times. It's even in exclamation mark B, exclamation mark bracket. But of course, don't know the outcome. I never, ever want to know the outcome of games that I still have to watch at 1x speed. But they played yesterday, so don't worry. It is not 4 a.m. for Classic. Classic said he would have loved to play. He just didn't want to play at 3 a.m. And I was like, well, I'd love to have you. So let's compromise. And that also gave Reynor a free Friday evening, which I think a man like Reynor will appreciate. I feel like Reynor is much more willing to play at like 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday than he is on a Friday. Ready, guys? I think they're both ready, but I just want to ask out of courtesy. Game 2 will be played on... I don't know yet. Doesn't tell me. Alright. Those guys are always very nice to me, Indy and TKL. So in this case, I also want to ask them if they're ready. And they keep on telling me, yeah, always ready. It's like, well, the least that I can do is be as nice to you as you are to me, no? Persephone, guys, was going to... Ooh, Persephone is an interesting one. It's a funny one. Was map 2. These guys played yesterday afternoon. And it was this man who took the 1-0 lead.
Round 2. Fight!
The bottom left side of Persephone. We are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss, the runner-up of the Esports World Cup 2025. And what a run it was. It is it still? It should be. Virtuous Pro Classic. Yeah, I believe it should always be till the end of the year. And obviously, fingers crossed, guys, that we have a good announcement before the end of the year. Then I'm also very certain they'll keep him on board. Because who in their right mind would ever let the guy go that finished the top 2? I actually met the owner of Twisted Minds. Was a super nice guy. He was modding a little bit. He's like, I can't believe it. We had him for like 2.5 years, and he really didn't do that much for us. And then everybody's telling me to get Hero, so we get Hero, and then Classic finishes second. Oh yeah, I believe that's what they call a Starcraft 2 bad beat. Like they do happen. Top left side of Persephone. We are looking at the main base of the Italian Stallion. Made it into the quarterfinals and had that legendary best of 5 versus his teammate. I'm sure he still has some nightmares off. It is BASILISK Reynor. I mean, I would never say that I thought it was a bad idea to, like, let's say you can replace Classic for Hero based on everything we've seen over the last 2 years before the Esports World Cup. I wouldn't say that's a bad idea, but I also say, like, in a perfect world, and if you can afford it, and I kind of think Twisted Minds can, I would say maybe you should have kept both, you know. Protoss was looking really good entering the Esports World Cup. Hero was maybe a tiny bit of a question mark. Classic was really gearing up, but on top of that, it never hurts to have 2 world-class players on your team if you truly try to score points in StarCraft 2. But well, maybe next year. Yeah, no, like I don't think we can fault them for it. But at that point, you are kind of rolling the dice, perhaps. Yeah. Started with the Tempest, right? Was that on this map? Was it, right? This is where Hero went for his Proxy, Oracle, Nexus, Tempest, and he couldn't get the battery up. I've seen Jumi try that build 3 times. And the only time it worked is when his opponent was 4.9k and he killed 6 drones with his first 2 adepts. That was the only time I've seen it work. Before that, I kind of believed in the build. But after I saw Jumi fail it twice, and then I also saw how much had to go right before that build ever worked, I'm starting to believe that that was not the right build or the choice for Hero, guys. I don't think that was it. Bringing that one out at the biggest stage of the year against somebody that you've performed really well against in normal games. Yeah, a little questionable. Reynor tries to micro his one Zergling. Unfortunately, does get sniped by the Adept. Reynor is not in Korea, he's in Italy. These games were played on NA. Not are played on NA, but they were played on NA. And by the way, game 1 was on West, because I did give them the server order. I said it is West, Central, West, Central, and then we flip a coin for game 5. Oracle shows up, honestly, maybe a lot earlier than Reynor expected. I'm shocked to see this amount of damage, guys. This is just a little bit more than we're ever supposed to find with our first Oracle. Maybe Reynor's timing is a little bit off. This is far from ideal. If we live by the Ricky rule, aka sort of, then we can now leave this game. This game is over. Obviously, Reynor was always going to try a little bit harder than that, but After that probably kind of frustrating first game, I cannot imagine that he's too pleased with how this one has started off. I think that's very silly, Gary, because it's also not a charity. In the end of the day, you have to make decisions. And if you would ever run a company and you feel like somebody is not bringing what you want them to bring, you're also in your right choice to look for a better option. So I think that's a very silly take. I feel like there are other teams that have acted a lot more in that way than Twisted Minds in that regard. Twisted Minds actually supported Nikarakt and Young Yakov as well for a little while. Not exactly guys that are likely to win Esports World Cup within the next 4 months. So. I don't know. Wouldn't quite go that down that route. Got a couple of adapts without resonating glaive shitting into the natural. Reynor has more than enough links. Classic is actually going to try to save a couple of them. Saves 4 out of 5. That's not too bad. Overall, the attack was a bit lackluster, but saving 4 out of 5 is pretty damn good. No, this is the one that's already been played on Z. Serral and Clem will be playing live. They're probably keeping an eye on this series. I told them they should be ready around 9 p.m. CST. When I asked Clem was laughing and he said, "Oh, yeah, sure. I'm a little bit rusty though, because he did go to a holiday as well in Croatia. And I think overall he has been taking it a little bit easier. But I know he's also always active in the Wardy Cups and other online cups that are running. You're clearly missing a lot, so I'm done with that conversation. All good, mate. Are we going to get player camps? No, I have never done player camps. Thank you. You too, mate. I'm aiming for a victory, though. I've seen that I'm the favorite in week 1, and I'm ready to crush. Is Serral ever rusty? No. I actually spoke a little bit with Jonah this afternoon. I can let you guys know that Serral is not rusty and does not feel like his year is done yet. Always hungry is what he said, and always eager to prove himself more. I'm looking for competition. I'm sure you guys will see a couple of the things that I discussed with Jonah in the near future. Reynor drops a Baneling Nest as 9 Hydras, 92 drones. Ay. There's a chance that Reynor wants to do more of what he was doing in the last game, but last game he was obviously doing it of a bit of a mediocre economy. This game, despite the fact that we lost 5 drones against that first Oracle, we have somehow skyrocketed up to 92. Yes, all the games will be posted to the Basilisk YouTube channel. So if you guys do !Basilisk, it will link to the social media, and it will link to the YouTube channel as well. And there's a very good chance that the games will be posted either within 24 or 48 hours. You'll absolutely be able to watch it back there. And of course, if you're a sub on the channel, you can watch it back on Twitch immediately, but it will always be available on the Basilisk YouTube. Little Storm lands chips. Wow, that's so many High Templars, by the way. Classic just casually chilling with 2 Oracles, 9 High Templars, and 7 Stalkers. Reynor fires up 6 Dropalords, so we are absolutely going to send it. We do have one little spine. A lot of Zergs are very fond of this spine, because what will happen if there is a Zealot run by, that Zealots derp a little bit and they all start trying to attack the spine one at a time through the little choke point. But I don't think this spine is going to come into play. Classic again has gone for relatively quick carriers. Reynor should be able to be a little more crazy this time, a little more reckless. Classic will probably be a little bit more careful and cautious with his High Templars than he was the first time. What's happening in the main? Oh, High Templar, double energy, 4 cannons. Man, Classic was expecting this. Classic was absolutely expecting this. Says, this ain't my first rodeo. This is not the first time I see you play as EVP. As that storm is going to hurt. It's a lot of Hydra, it's a lot of links, but the shield battery is doing a good job in buying time. A couple of zealots get warped in right on top. I don't think Reynor is really going to break Classic here in his main. What can Reynor get done over here at the 6 o'clock base? Any banelings? Nope. No banelings at the bottom, only at the top. So far, it's really good defense by Classic, who is obviously bleeding out some Archons, losing a few Stalkers, losing a few Zealots, but yeah, you can't say that was not a good hold. Holy smokes. Reynor now lost almost 5,000 resources more than Classic did. And Reynor does not have Hive Tech on the way. This drop in Infestation Pit is now hoping to snipe a War Prism. Will snipe the War Prism. Thank you, Dave Matey, for the 49 months. Ay, ay, ay. This is looking grim for Reynor. Reynor finished a runner-up in the FPL Krakow event right after the Esports World Cup. Had a very impressive run through the upper bracket. Had some insane games with Clem. That was incredibly fun. A lot of people missed that event because they kind of watch EWC and they're like, oh, that's all the Starcraft I need to watch for a while and now I'm done. But it was literally like the weekend of EWC on this Sunday. That was a $10,000 event in Poland. And Reynor and Clem had some incredibly good games. Reynor still looked very good there, but that was right after EWC. Now obviously more than a month has gone by. And I think other than the all random cups, I don't think Reynor has been playing crazy much StarCraft. And it does show a little. But he's still here, he's still going to try to battle, and he's still going to try to turn this into something. But so far Classic is looking as good as he is doing in all those Wardy Cups and other weekly events that are out there. Honestly, it kind of looks untouchable. The Jetlag Poland Cup, yes, that is true. A lot of them did have a difficult time getting home. Lambo, Clem, and Reynor were forced to spend the night in Dubai before they, at one point, I think, arrived at noon, and the tournament was already going on. And that's when they landed in Poland. But they still delivered. Those three guys still delivered. They completed the top 3, and they put on some really, really good games. That was actually a lot of fun. I thought that was a banger day. A really, really fun day of StarCraft. +2 air weapons on the way for Classic. +3 is halfway down. Reynor does have a Adrenal Glands on the way and at least has made it up to a Hive Tech Zerg. It's obviously not as quick as you would normally like it to be. The 92 Once Upon a Time drones have now turned into 70 something after building a bunch of spores and spines. And we're just gonna try to survive. We've got Lurkers. How many observers and oracles? 2 oracles, 1 ups. Oracles are at home though, guys. Oracles are at home. Reynor has like kind of outmaneuvered his army of Classic. He's gonna try to sneak a couple Banelings into the middle line. Reynor finds some real economic damage this time, as that is 19 probes. Almost. Hydra's gone down the War Prism as well. Almost got this Pylon. Getting this Pylon would have been massive, because that would have been -5 cannons. Is there any potential for a loco maneuver? No, I don't think so. 10 Archons? Probably not. I do like the Lurkers though. Like, carriers also don't kill Lurkers that quick, especially not if the Lurkers ever get any carapace upgrades. Unfortunately, they don't have any yet. I think Reynor did a good job in realizing that all of these cannons are vulnerable because they were powered by a single pylon, and Oracles are going to have a hard time cleaning this up as well. So 19 workers earlier, 12 additional probes. No, it's pretty good. But that doesn't make this Protoss army disappear. Ay caramba! This Protoss army is still here. Reynor has 17 Hydras and 13 Lurkers. I'm afraid that is just not good enough unless the Lurkers can cook. Is there a world where these Lurkers can cook? Hydras are doing their thing. Plenty of storms. A lot of Lurkers have disappeared. We've got 19 extra Hydras on the way. If Classic ever runs out of High Templars, and obviously these Hydras will have a good old time. But Classic and running out of High Templars is not something we see very often, even though he had a hard time revelating those Lurkers. Drops a couple storms. Current High Templar count on the map is 4. It's also like so many Archons, right? You still have to bulldoze your way through all these Archons. Reynor fires up 7 more Lurkers, but it's honestly quite broke at this point. Down to 59 drones. 6 carriers. Reynor does have 4 Vipers on the way. Those Vipers would obviously change everything. At least for now. I'm not saying the entire game. You know, Classic only has 53 workers, but it's gonna take a little while before these 4 Vipers have enough energy to really have a big impact. Now there are a bunch of Zealots that we have to worry about as well in the main. And that main Protoss army is still awfully close towards that 12 o'clock base of Reynor. Reynor knows he really cannot give up on that location. The Zealots didn't get that much, to be fair. 7 drones, and we pulled some Hydras out of position, but now Classic is building 3 Tempests at a time. And that is a much bigger problem. Because Reynor does not really have an answer for the Tempest. And is not going to have an answer for the Tempest either. The only really reliable answer that Zerg has is a bunch of Corruptors, ideally with good upgrades, or fantastic spellcaster support, and we just don't have that. Reynor does have the gold, by the way. That's kind of cool, no? Fires up 10 Corruptors. They are going to... Oh, they're going to be 0-0 Corruptors as the mothership has made its way over into the main base of Reynor. Goes for the recall. And Reynor shouldn't even try, by the way. Never go up this ramp. That is something that he tried once in a TSL game against Zest. And then he ate 20 storms to the face and unfortunately could not clean up. Yeah, I mean, that was in his main. It's incredibly painful for a Zerg to lose all your tech structures that are deep inside of your main, but you simply cannot go up this tiny ramp. I also don't think Classic can go down the tiny ramp, to be fair. He knows that, so he's gonna recalls towards this base that was about to be attacked. How much did we leave behind? That's actually a pretty decent army. That's actually a pretty decent army. What is that? 6 Zealots, an Oracle, and 3 Archons. Just having that supply tied up, by the way, there might help Reynor a little bit if they can take a good fight. Reynor doesn't have adaptive talents, by the way. Oh, that's so painful. Yeah, I see these Lurkers burrow, and I was like, man, that's slow. There's no way. And we lost Hive, we lost the Lurker then. No, we didn't lose the Lurker then. But we did lose Hive. That is pain. That is pain. So no adaptive talents for the 21 Lurkers that Reynor is currently working with. Makes it almost impossible for Reynor to do anything offensively. But maybe that's not what he wants to do at this point anyway. At least we're getting longer games, guys. I was a little bit afraid that tonight was going to be a bit too short. As we're going to have another Rico, drops the time warp as well. This is going to be a crazy fight. There are some speed zones, so there is a speed zone and a slow zone at the same time. The parasitic bombs can have a pretty big impact on the interceptor count potentially, but all the Hydras have died. 18 additional drones died. Yeah, again, without the adaptive talents on the Lurkers, you can never really unburrow the Lurkers and move them closer to the Protoss army. Just takes way too long. Everything gets obliterated. Cool move by Classic. Back-to-back recalls from the Mama ship, putting his army in a very powerful position, making it so difficult for Reynor to get on top of it. Reynor will still have some money. I think our Neo hatch is up to Lair, right? Yeah, it's going to be a bunch of Tempest as well. 6 carriers, 5 Tempest. It feels like an unfair fight at this point. Classic's army is a lot more valuable. Richer in minerals, richer in gas. The Reynor, his working count is lower, so technically if we both max out, he's gonna have a bit of a bigger army. Classic decides to free up those Zealots. He recalled the Archons home, by the way. Recalled the Archons home. I mean, it's such a powerful army. +3 air weapons on the way as well. The Corruptors guys are looking at a 0-0. 0-0 Corruptors. A bunch of Lurkers with only seismic spines, no adaptive talents. It would be a miracle. It'd be an absolute miracle. Chat saying Reynor is dead. Not gonna argue with you on that one, mate. I'd always love to argue that I believe, but yeah, this seems like an incredibly unfair fight and an impossible fight. But Reynor is gonna give it a good old college try. Does move the Corruptors on top of all the Skytos units. These units are derping a little bit. Classic did not review all the lurkers on the right. Reynor takes one of the better fights that I think he could have ever taken, but it is still not good enough. Does not have the money. Classic is rich. Classic would have rebuilt. Honestly, that was pretty good. For a man with 0-0 Corruptors and no adaptive talents, that was pretty damn good. Just not good enough. And when you have no detection against lurkers, your Protoss army can be so stupid. Where it's like, with that, then in the end. Macro wins the game. Watch with others. Game 3. I'm gonna invite TKL again for everybody that just joined. Reynor and Classic played these games yesterday, but we don't know the score. What we do know is that after 2 games, it was a 2-0 lead for my man Classic. I'm gonna hop into game 3. After this, we're gonna hop into our final series of the night, and that will be Serral versus Clem. Those games will be live. They have not played yet, just like Trigger and Bunny was live, and Young Yakov Iba was live. Well, some better upgrades on the Corruptors, a slightly bigger bank, and adaptive talents, and I absolutely do believe. Like, Reynor can have really good late game engagements. It's just that he was so far behind. Like, we lost 5 drones to the first Oracle. That is very unlike my boy. Yes. Game 3 was played on Ultra Love. Let's see. First 2 best of 5s was a trio for GG Machine over Iba in a battle of the 2 best 16-year-olds on the planet. Second series was a very exciting but still trio victory for the man from BASILISK Trigger over Bunny. And now we're looking into our third series of the day, the co-main event of the evening, 100 BASILISK Big Brain Bouts, guys. Can you believe it? 100! That's crazy! Here we go.
Round 3. Fight!
Top right side of Ultra Love, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss, the runner-up of the Esports World Cup, and he continues to look good in every single tournament you see. I know he's already won a couple online cups, and also took the 2-0 lead over the Italian Stallion in a series that was played yesterday. This is Classic. Bottom left side of Ultra Love, we're looking at the main base of the man who is looking a little less sharp than he did a month ago. But I also know him, and I know he always has that fire, and he does not like to be on the receiving end of a one-sided series. Let's see if we can start turning things around here on Ultra Love. The Italian Stallion, BASILISK Reynor. For some reason, I was awake so freaking early this morning. I'm not somebody who wakes up mega late, like the real gaming hours are a bit behind me. But most days I would say I wake up between 9 and 10. I don't know if I was just excited for today or because you know it's always a bit special. Big Brain Bouts number 100, and you've got Serral, Clem, and Reynor Classic. There's really fun games to look forward to. But I was wide awake at 7:40 a.m. and I couldn't go to bed anymore. And then I always get a bit worried, where I was like, man, now my day's a bit too long. I don't mind waking up early, but it's hard to then keep the energy throughout the day and then trying to peak at 8 or 9 p.m. if it's already been a 13 or 14 hour day. But I gotta say, I feel fine. Most of the time, as long as I'm streaming, I feel like you get some energy. If you do nothing, the energy fades away real quick. So like the last 2 hours before I started streaming, I actually felt kind of crappy, but then the moment you start, you click some buttons, you start yapping a little, it's always fine. Thank you to my man Rexy for the 61 months tier 3 absolute legend, our Bulgarian amigo. Thank you for everything you've done for me, matey, and for all the other Starcraft 2 gamers out there. Just in time for the reverse sweep. I hope you're right. If we do get a reverse sweep, that probably means that Serral Clem starts a little bit later than 9, but is Classic also not the guy to lose 3 games in 11 minutes, right? I can see Classic lose 3 in a row, but never without a 20, 25 or 30 minute slugfest. First adept on the other side of the map gets a drone kill. The server order was west, central west, so that means that obviously this game is on the preferred server for the Korean gamers. It's an early Twilight Council, guys. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. First Oracle not even out yet. Reynor obviously was a little bit surprised by all those adepts in the first game on Incorporeal. This is a map where historically Classic has been quite fond of making a bunch of Zealots in charge with +1, running them to the other side of the map. But if it's single Oracle, then I think a bunch of adepts with Resonating Glaive is a lot more likely. And that is indeed what it's going to be. I hope Reynor was sharp here, and you know, seeing 4 minutes into the game, no third Nexus yet. Even when he's taking it now, that's already like a little bit later than a lot of other Protoss build orders. So I hope that makes the alarm bells go off. If not, this too could be a relatively short and underwhelming series. We haven't seen a second Oracle yet either. Reynor really needs to start dropping a Roach Warren right above. No. Funk Soul Brother. Honestly, a little bit later than I wish. I hope we can get away with it. Ugh. I hope we can get away with it. I mean, it's already so different, right, than the other games that I feel like Reynor must know. Classic does have a Robo as a follow-up as well, so this is that single Oracle. 9 adepts with Resonating Glaive. He can obviously reinforce 4 at a time, and a delayed Robo. So what often happens is that they send it for a little while, and then they continue to send it with a bunch of Immortal Sentries and more adepts. Reynor has Roaches on the production tab, only a 5 worker lead. That shouldn't be that greedy. That's a really good way to shade in on the Classic side. It means that Reynor, his screens are in a bit of a pickle. There is no creep connecting the high ground to the low ground here, and that makes screens so painfully slow. One of them dies. Okay, good. Wrap around, I think. Roach is starting to help out. A lot of the Lings have died though. Much better that Reynor wishes that those Roaches would have showed up a split second early, as the Adepts now casually killed the Evolution Chamber. It means that they can make it into the main. There's not that many Adepts left, but it's already a decent amount of economic damage. It could have been a lot worse. Lots of lost mining time. There are more Adepts over here at the bottom of the third. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Reynor does clean up the main. Reynor cleans up the natural, but those additional depths at the third are very, very annoying. They'll start building drones immediately. He loses 2 of them. Does feel like he's got enough units now to properly split up. Good save on that one. Still ends up losing it in the end. Classic lost a 9 adepts, killed 9 drones. That obviously is very acceptable on Reynor's side. Unfortunately for Reynor, he also lost a Spore. He lost an Evo, so that makes it 11 drones. Losing 2 queens, and then on top of that, all the lost mining time. It's just going to make it really, really difficult to deal with the follow-up push. That is indeed going to be Immortals and a crazy amount of sentries. We're gonna need Ravagers. Without Ravagers, we've got a 0 chance. It looks grim for Reynor. Definitely looks very grim. The Roach speed on the way. I want him to stop building drones. We really don't need drones. We need just a crazy amount of Roach Ravager Ling at this point, and we need to pray. Stasis trap in the main. Only gets a single drone, so that was very clean on Reynor's side. I do like the early Ravagers here. Absolutely mandatory. A little bit sad that we don't have a Zergling here, a Zergling here. At this point, we wouldn't see anything, but it's still something I'd love to see of Reynor when he's feeling his best. Tough army, guys. There's a few extra drones on the production tab now, and that is not what Reynor needs. Reynor needs Roaches, Ravagers, maybe even like a Spine here and there, so if a couple of adepts do shade away, then you don't actively have to be on top of everything. A War Prism Snipe would be goated! We don't get the War Prism Snipe, and instead we lose 4 Ravagers. Reynor felt like he needed something special there. He needed a Hail Mary. Thought he saw an opportunity to snipe the Prism. He didn't. Instead, he loses the Ravagers, and Well, what was always going to be a very difficult hold now became a straight up impossible hold. And just like that, the third 3-0 of the night. Really? After 99 epic Fridays where we had nothing but bangers, back forth, game 5s everywhere. Really, at Big Brain Bouts number 100, it's 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Oh well. You know what it is, guys? There has been an age-old rule in Starcraft 2. And that is if the quarterfinals or the semifinals of a bracket are really good, the grand finals is often a little bit underwhelming. Now let's just pretend that this was a bracket. And that means that our grand finals is going to be amazing. Because if the earlier rounds are bad, the grand finals is great. If the earlier rounds are great, the grand finals are bad. Let's go with that logic. So I guess we're going to have another chapter. Man, we're so far ahead of schedule. That's actually a bit unfortunate. This never happens. Normally we're always behind schedule. Unbelievable scenes. Classic was the winner. Classic will get the 100 buckies. Reynor will still get 50. And that means that we're going to get ready for Serral versus Clem. Best of 5. BBB main event number 100. I don't think we're going to start within 2 minutes because we're a bit too far ahead of schedule, so I don't like that. Like starting a little bit earlier than 9 is obviously fine, and if both Clem and Serral are ready, we can obviously start it a bit earlier. But we basically told everybody that this was going to start at 9, and then starting 8:30 sharp is not ideal. Serral is, of course, our Finnish Zerg. And Clem is, of course, the man from Team Liquid, our French Terran. I'll give it a 30-minute prediction, and I think there is a good chance that we can start in give or take 10 minutes. I'll take a little look at everything. What is this? No? Nothing? Okay. Sometimes I get a ping, and then you open it, and there is nothing to be found there. What happened? Take a look at Battle.net and see if they are ready. Serral's always ready. Serral's already in the channel. Clem is not quite ready yet. I'm going to go ahead and throw it to a break screen, guys. I'm going to contact my gamers. Obviously, what you guys can always do for fun is take a look at !bracket. You take a look at the Wikipedia page. These were the matches today. Everything will be posted to the BASILISK YouTube channel. So if you guys cannot stick around to watch Serral versus Clem, it will be posted here basically within 48 hours.
Not just institutional science. So, the most exciting thing is...
That is the channel. That is a goated rivalry. We can take a little look at the League Elect. Let's see. Let me go ahead and send Clem a message. Where is my Clem? Clem, we are already good to go. Everything went really quick. Feel free to take your time, of course. Since we said 9, but just for you. Just so you know, we're ready when you are. Oh well, I think it's gonna be good, guys. I think it's gonna be good. I have a series. Alright, Clem did respond immediately. There's a good chance that maybe he's eating or he's finishing up something else. Yeah. Let's aim for 8:40 then. No rush. Clem says that he's basically ready. He just needs 5 minutes. I said that's totally fine. I said let's just do 10 minutes. So we're not starting too far ahead. Because otherwise, if some people open the stream at 9 and I'm like, what the hell? It's already been going on for so long. It's like, yeah, it can happen. Most of the time we are behind schedule. And then, of course, tonight, out of all the nights, after 100 Fridays of blood, sweat, and tears that often start on Tuesday, it's 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. Well, let's hope the main event delivers, guys. I'll take a couple minutes after that. I'll be back. And if you guys have any questions about the Big Brain Bouts or anything else, feel free to send them my way. And I'll see you guys soon.